all those millions of pilgrims which actually came. And guess what? The next holy year is 2025. It's next year. So that's why they're taking care of so much maintenance here. There's a lot of restorations going on. They want to take care of all the embellishments for the next holy year, 2025. So I'll take you outside now, because I'd like to show you. I know we're going there later. I will take you inside the church later. But what happens when you're standing too close to the basilica is that the dome gets hidden by the very tall facade in front of it, so you cannot see it. It's covered by the perspective of the huge building in front of it. St. Peter's Dome is already the first great masterpiece we can observe today that we owe to the genius of Michelangelo. By no means the greatest mind who existed in the Renaissance time, in the 1500s. You know, there are great names: Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci, Raphael. And Michelangelo was one of those artists who did everything in his career. He started as a sculptor, then he ended up being an amazing painter, a poet, and also an incredible actor. Because you bet that St. Peter's Dome was the most difficult part of the whole basilica. And it took a really long time to build St. Peter's, over 100 years, 120 years in total. It was the first opened in 1506, and they consecrated it for the first time in 1656. Wow. Of course, the list of artists who worked there is really, really long. Not only Michelangelo, who's Gian Lorenzo Bellini, Francesco Borromini, all the greatest artists even from the Baroque time, the 16th. And Michelangelo was quite old when he got the commission for the dome, you know? He was in his 70s, so he started having a few concerns of living long enough to see that titanic work completed. And he actually died when they were done with the bottom part, up to where you see the ruins. Everything else was missing for 20 long years after Michelangelo's death. He completed so long after his death, you know, by Giacomo della Porta, another incredible architect who followed Michelangelo's job. But the reason why over 5 million people keep coming here every year from all around the world with very different backgrounds, of different religion, or of no religion at all, is to be able to see that, the Sistine Chapel, which is the tallest, brownish building you see all the way down. See the one with the antenna on its right? Yes. That's the private chapel of the Pope, and also the place where popes are elected. So it's a very, very special place. It's a holy place, and it's forbidden to talk inside. For this reason, tour guides, as you can see, are only using billboards to talk about the history behind the frescoes in here. Because it's entirely covered in frescoes from all around. You know, that's why I've always defined it the most famous decorated project. What is that? What is that? Yeah, my beloved wife bought me this hat, you know, which looks a little bit ridiculous, but it protects my neck.
Yeah.
Because I'm always in the sun, you know. Yeah. It's time for you to have a proper hat. If you check your phones now, you know, chances are that if you open your weather forecast application, it will tell you you are in the Vatican City and not in Rome anymore. Oh. But guess what? This is the smallest sovereign country in the whole world. It occupies an area of 0.13 square miles, but it's independent. It's not Italy. Okay?
It's not Italy. Oh.
You might see car plates on those cars, you know. Those are Italian plates with the blue bands on the sides. The Vatican cars, they don't have the blue part because they're not part of the European Union. So they only use the unified currency, the euro, but that's it.
Are they a water filling station?
Very good. Now, talking a little bit about the Sistine Chapel and the Basilica, you know, there's always been a St. Peter's Basilica in that area. But the fact is that in ancient Roman times, it looked like, you know, it was really, really old. 1700 years ago, an important emperor called Constantine found the tomb of St. Peter, the first pope. That's why he's from. And he decided to build a church on that spot. In the 1500s, after lack of maintenance, you know, for centuries, the structure was so unstable that the Pope, with the financial possibility, decided to tear down the old St. Peter's, replacing it with the current. And when they started working on St. Peter's Basilica, they accidentally damaged the Sistine Chapel, which was already there. They made excavations all around, and one of its walls started to gradually detach from the rest of the building. So it needed to be restored. This is very important. That's the reason why a very young Michelangelo was given the That's the Holy Father. Okay, if you've never seen the Pope, that's Pope Francis. He's from Argentina. His name is Jorge Mott. He has some Italian origins, some Italian roots. His father was from his father's side. His grandfather was from most people, long time, very proud. And he's a very progressive Pope. We were saying earlier during our short break downstairs. Now, I would like to find a spot. Maybe we can walk around here. So that might look pretty awesome. In the camera. It's a spinning sphere. It's a modern work. It's from 1990, so it's nothing to do with all the ancient statues exposed here. And it's called Sphere Within Sphere. It represents the impact of humanity on our planet, apparently. And it's a work by Arnaldo Pomodoro, an artist from last century who was specialized on big spheres like this. He made several ones. One of them is even in the States, in New York City, by the headquarters of the United Nations. Tour guides can walk across the rope over there. They can push it and make it spin. So it's usually a very nice Instagram story or a much great on the video.
That's cool.
But this courtyard here, which is very famous in the Vatican, is called the Courtyard of the Pineapple for a reason. You will see now that we will turn left, and on the opposite side over there, decorating the huge abs, there is a pretty big sculpture representing a pine cone. So that's what gives the name of Courtyard of the Pineapple to this area. And it's a very old sculpture. It's 1,800 years old.
Wow.
It was decorating an Egyptian temple, which used to be in the center of Rome. You know, it sounds a little bit weird, but we don't have to be surprised. 2,000 years ago, Rome was the capital city of the Roman Empire, which dominated their whole Mediterranean, and Egypt was part of it. So there were some tolerated cults here in the capital. The important thing, if you wanted to live in Rome 2,000 years ago, was to believe in many gods and to consider the emperor as one of them. Otherwise, you were in trouble. And here is the sphere within sphere.
Wow, that's cool.
Ah, in due siamo, grande, ecco perché. It felt a little bit easier than usual. Spinning quite fast. Wow, it's amazing.
I can only imagine how heavy that is.
It's pretty heavy, several tons. And if you want to know a curiosity, the artist got inspired by that sphere over there on top of St. Peter's Dome. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's the sphere which inspired them all.
Wow. Nice.
If you want, you can follow me there. I'm looking for some shade. I see
Là,
some over there.
c'est-à-dire peut-être. Et donc, le système de pierre
And I will probably spend 5 minutes with you sitting on the bench, telling you a little bit about the Sistine Chapel. Maybe at this point we can pause. And then resume. Quite muscular, both men and women. And that's because Michelangelo was studying the collections of ancient Greek and Roman statues kept here by the Pope. If we have the chance, I will show you a couple of details that we might have missed in the tiny paper. These are details of the ears of a donkey. So at least you are prepared for what's expecting you. The ears of a donkey and the snake biting him in between his legs.
That's hilarious.
You see how Jesus is young and strong over here. Then this is interesting. These are the sketches Michelangelo's made to design the scaffolding, and that's how he was working in the chapel on top of it. This is a gentleman who restored it with his team between the 80s and the 90s. They found out that it was possible to remove this very dark layer caused by the smoke of the candles there in the centuries.
Wow.
So it took them nearly 10 years, but they made a wonderful job. And this gentleman, who's a superstar, is 93 years old, very cool guy.
Wow.
And I feel honored that I could participate to a lecture with him. This is the symbolic moment. Jesus is giving the 2 keys to Peter. So I wanted you to see that, because that's how the Sistine Chapel looks from the inside. Decorated box. Remember, the Last Judgment will be in the very back. We'll be entering this tiny door here. The ceiling is obviously up there, and on the 2 long walls on the sides, depending on the side, you either have the Old or the New Testament, meaning the life of Moses compared to the life of Jesus. Moses by the Red Sea. Jesus' Last Supper, for instance, you will recognize some of those episodes during our visit.
Yeah.
Very good. Any questions, curiosities?
No, you're doing great.
Wonderful. That's all I wanted to hear. Please watch your step here, because it's a tricky, tiny step. So, just to get back to the pine cone, it was okay. People all look different in Israel. It was a melting pot of different cultures. But it was crucial to believe in many gods, recognizing the emperor as one of them. And that was later the problem with Christianity. Christians, like me, they do believe in only one true God. So emperors started considering the religion as a threat to their power, because Christians refused to consider the emperor as a divine. That's why they tried to eradicate from their territory. If you're interested in this gallery, I want to tell you that it's one of the latest galleries of the Vatican Museum. It's from the early 1800s. And it's been built on purpose to host some of the statues returned from France to Italy after Napoleon stole them in the first place in the late 1700s. Yes, so it's a very long gallery with statues.
Wow.
We can proceed upstairs, and that's going to be the heart of the Vatican Museum. Up there, that's the oldest building of the whole Vatican Museum, which dates back to the 1500s. So from now on, we're going to see the most important statues collected in the Museum of the Pope. It wouldn't make any sense, and you would hate me if I started by every single statue, and we would never leave the museum. So it would take 10 years to see it all. But there are 3 or 4 statues which you cannot miss. And I will make sure you see all of them, so you can also tell your friends. Now that you have it on picture, you've seen the Laocoon. We made it to see the torso, But you already have an idea of the amount of people visiting this museum. So this ancient part, which is a square fortress with a courtyard on the left, where I'm taking you it's called Palazzetto of the Belvedere. Belvedere in Italian means nice view, and that's what you get from these windows. See, you can dominate the city from here. There's going to be another window in the next room, which is a little bit bigger. We'll have to stop here as the first one is another one. So in the next room, you will see a statue all the way down. It's already one of the highlights of the Vatican Museum. It's the famous the gentleman down here, it's a young boy who's cleaning his skin after a competition. It was typical in the Roman times to put oil on your skin before a running competition, before a fight, enough sweat from their skin, be missing on that side. Called so something between the spoon and the court of the Palazzetto of the Belvedere, former fortress of This is where, back in 1506, on Valentine's Day, the Pope called Julius II brought the very first statues, which started the collection, which later became the Vatican Museum. And everybody wants to see the very first statue. So I'll make sure you see that too. If you follow me, right, that corner over there, you can tell by the amount of time. If you came here 500 years ago, you'd be walking on grass. This was an orange garden. And that's why today there are these tiny tangerines here, which they left as a sort of memory of the time when it was a garden. What happened is that while in the beginning, private, I can show you a trick. You can see the text on the side. 250 years after being inaugurated, it's been open to the public for the first time in 1776. In the late 1700s, the collection became a public museum. You can follow me here. You can stand on the side. This, ladies and gentlemen, is one of the most famous statues in the world. It's called the Laocoon. It's actually 3 statues in one. And it represents a mythical ancient priest from the city of Troy who's going to be strangled by 2 snakes together with his children. Those are his 2 sons on the side. The reason why he's dying is an inner dream. He had a vision. And he saw that the Greeks were going to destroy his city. It was a modern-day Turkey, you know. They made a movie about that called Troy, with Brad Pitt playing the main role of Achilles. Anyway, he was going against the will of the gods. He wanted his city to be destroyed. The goddess Athena sent 2 destruction of his houses. Okay, you can follow me here. I wanted to tell you that that statue is over 2,000 years old.
3,000?
Over 2,000.
Wow.
It's from the 1st century BC. It's been made in Rome by 3 Greek sculptors, and it's been buried underground for centuries. They found it in the 1500s. As a man was taking a walk, you know, nearby the Colosseum. The ground opened below his feet. He fell into a hole, found himself with that statue. The Pope was informed. He sent a bunch of experts to that excavation, including a young Michelangelo. And they all realized that it was a very famous statue from the past they could read about in the words of the historians from ancient Roman times. So they brought it here, and guess what? It became an example of the human anatomy of the body. You know, because in the Renaissance time, artists were really celebrating the beauty of the human body. So it started being used as a model for generations and generations of artists, including Raphael and Michelangelo, which are some of the most relevant artists from the Renaissance. Any questions, curiosities about what you see?
No, let's go.
Let's go in. From now on, we will be indoors till the Sistine Chapel.
Usually when you see 2 dogs on the front, it reminds me of Cerberus.
Oh yeah.
You know, they guard the gates of hell or whatever.
Yeah, and it's probably here on purpose, you know? The very first room of the gallery is dedicated to animals. It's called the room of the animals. It's a pretty... It's really cool. While these buildings were designed in the 1700s to become public, they wanted to use ancient materials. Which is an original ancient Roman mosaic, 2,000 years ago. Removed from Italy and replaced here in the 1700s to become the floor of the gallery.
Corey.
They've been recycled from ancient Roman three important statues of the Vatican Museum. It's a quite mysterious statue because it's missing the head, you know. The arms and legs are gone as well. But we can see that this is a pretty strong male, sitting and looks to be the figure of a lion. So one of the possible explanations to his identity is that this is Hercules. The reason why we believe it might be Hercules is that according to a myth, Hercules killed the lion. It was one of his names. Our two myths try to imagine that as well. I remind you of the Colombian it's an ancient Greek and it says son of Nestor from So what I find amazing is that today your eyes are looking at the same statue that Michelangelo has been observing for so long, inspiring the most famous fresco in the world in the system. But that's how special the Vatican is. You told me you've been through the Pantheon.
Yeah, yesterday.
Did you make it inside?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Because the next room has been entirely designed for use of the Pantheon as a model. So you might remember the Pantheon is covered by a huge dome with the hole in the center. That's exactly what the main here. There's a sort of a replica of the dome of the Pantheon. The difference is here, the hole is covered. It's closed with glass. It's like a heat control.
That way nothing gets ruined here or anything like that. So it doesn't get ruined by like the weather or the rain.
Exactly. While the Pantheon is open, so it's been raining inside. There is still evidence of drainage systems in the Pantheon made by the road. When you enter, you'll be surprised because on the right there is a gilded bronze statue of a Roman career. It's something really rare to be able to see. The reason is that normally in the Middle Ages, you know, between Roman times and now, all the bronzizing like statues were melted down and recycled. Normally they turn them into weapons.
Right.
This statue in particular, which represents Hercules, 100%, was buried in a sarcophagus in a marble tooling like a person for hundreds of years.
Wow.
And the reason why and Paul was at least very superstitious, you know. And since this statue was made by a
of the century third the entire court has been
they decided to move it to a marble sarcophagus, and it's been buried underground for some while. No one found it in the late 1800s when very surprised carpenters, you know, working on the building side of a regular building home. So we found that, and it saw that each sarcophagus was hit by the light. So now you see all its beauty has been transported to the late 1800s. This room here is called the room of the Greek gods. It's called like the first layout, and I'm sure it's already captured on this side. The whole red meaning that's the color of royalty, you know, that they belong to the family of an emperor. They both belong to the family of Emperor Constantine, who's very important about it. Constantine was the emperor who made Christianity legal in the year 300. To allow Christianity to rise in this world, the reason is particularly celebrated. Well, this is the remains of the mother of Constantine. outside the windows you see the home we entered from.
Oh, okay.
So it's sort of a maze here. Also, it's very, very big. Normally, without a tour guide, it's kind of difficult to find your way immediately. You might easily get lost. But here it's very big. There's another room that's quite nice, and it would be right next to the library. Don't miss that because it's a beautiful statue. You see once again there's more. This room is just amazing. In the center of it there is a statue of a Bibbia. This is the common cherry.
That's the wedding ring. This is the chariot room. You can see this chariot. The bedside of the chariot is original 1st century.
Yeah,
The chariot.
we're so lucky. They're closing the road behind us. They're closing the road, which means that they're creating a huge deviation for all the other visitors coming. They will be sent up to this channel. 40 minutes more to get back to this point.
Wow.
That's how lucky we are. Some show friends of mine. Never to be photographed. Leo the 13th here in the year 1880.
Where?
Below the clouds, there's
Oh, yeah.
a round box. That's a camera.
Okay.
Of this gallery, the statue of Sayles. So 10 minutes from
Church of Corbin is positioned to collect leader local learning. So today we are the ones.
on her chest. On the opposite side, you can see Diana, the divinity of the holding a cross, and arrows from behind the is a tiny square mosaic on the lines of bubbles of cross. This was another sample for an ancient Roman shop. It wasn't before, on the sidewalk. You walk by it and you saw what they were selling inside. Fish, chicken. On the left, another very unique thing. This is a statue of a young Dionysus. Believe it or not, it still has its original eyes playing with it. It's very rare to see these decorations. They've been vandalized in the centuries. That's how it is. What one does to look like actually real thoughts. This is a very funny statue of a lady. It's funny because of her particular hairstyle. But the hairstyle of ladies, of the rich ladies, helps in dating the statues defined in the era. Because they know that in every era there was a specifically popular haircut. Whenever the first lady, the wife of an emperor, had a haircut, everybody, all the rich ladies wanted her. And here in the front is a very precious coat of arms made of blue lapis lazuli. Lapis lazuli stone is what Michelangelo used to make the blue paint in the Sistine Chapel.
Wow.
So we know that these two already used the most expensive steels. And here on the floor we see all these people falling. There is the name of Pope Leo XIII. It's here because he decided to cover this gallery, which was originally an open road. You can see the sky, basically. tiara that had which looks like 3 crowns on it.
We learned that yesterday.
Really?
Yep.
Did you have a guide in the Pantheon? Was it the same guy who was it wasn't through Crown Tours?
No. Definitely not.
Depends on many things. The age of the guy.
Right.
Experience.
Exactly.
His knowledge was great. It was just very long-winded.
Yeah, the problem is when you are a tour guide, you're not like the professor. You are with one hobby.
That was a great way of saying it too.
Might have different goals. I've been on private tours, and when you are on private tours, you listen first to the needs of the guests, and then you customize.
Right, yeah,
So it can be tailored, right? So if you are with somebody who tells you this,
I think you just disconnected something.
did I disconnect?
Yeah. No, I can sort of. I can hear him.
There you go.
Sometimes it doesn't make
Look at all the tapestry.
sense. Keep some more people who are on holidays for hours in the sun, because you have to say your thing.
Right.
Preserve.
To preserve it, yeah.
Very, very old.
Because they can't.
With very old,
You're good.
how do I explain? Oh, this is 500 years.
Right, yeah, right.
These are 350.
Right.
And for us are kind of recent, Italian standards. But it's 2 different collections. First of all, tapestries are like carpets but made for the walls. And it was very typical 500 years ago to have them hanging on the walls of the chapels to keep the chapels a little bit warmer on winter, for instance. And the collection on your left is from the 1520s, so it's exactly that. And it's all dedicated to Jesus. From the moment Jesus was born, the Nativity, here is the Ascension closer to us. It goes on not in a chronological order. It's been made by the pupils of Raphael, who's possibly the most important painter from the Renaissance. On the right, you have a different collection, which is a celebration of a cardinal and his career. But this cardinal, called Maffeo Barberini, made it to become Pope in the late 1600s, 1660, 1670. That's when Maffeo Barberini, you can see right here, kind of counting the balloons. So he's receiving the tiara. The 2 cross keys, symbol of papacy, are waiting for him on the throne, and he will now become Pope under the rule of Urban VIII. This family Barberini, is very famous. Their symbol are bumblebees, that's why you will see a bee by every corner of these tapestries. They are also a little bit unpopular, because this Pope here is the Pope in the 1600s decided to sacrifice entire parts of the Colosseum, Rome's most iconic monument, to build St. Peter's Basilica. He removed huge blocks of stone and marble from the Colosseum to build St. Peter's. This upset many people later, and that's why we have a saying. What the barbarians didn't do, the barbarians did.
So is this all painted or carved?
Oh wow, you're a great observer.
I can see the 3-dimensional, but I'm like...
You know what? I like that you're curious, because many people don't even look up. So it's a shame.
It's carved.
What do you think?
It looks carved.
It's painted. It's painted. It looks carved. So it's made on purpose to have this 3-dimensional effect. I'm so glad you know that it.
They did a good job.
Chiaroscuro technique. Chiaroscuro is like playing with the dark and the shades and
The shades of the light, yeah.
Here on the left, for 3 times, you see something terribly violent. Now that I have a 1-year-old daughter home, I can't even look at it. It's called the killing of the innocents. After King Herod heard that a son of God was born, he ordered to kill all the firstborn male infants were being taken away from the mother's arms and brutally stabbed on the street. See over there? It's very, very bad. For 3 times. And it's followed by the largest and most important tapestry in Israel, which is the resurrection. Now you can do something very cool. You can keep looking because it doesn't matter where you are as you move. to keep his thoughts. And that's another optical illusion. Just like the ceiling, which was supposed to be three-dimensional, here the artist called this kind of style the mobile perspective. So we all that's the reason why they imagine Jesus standing on a rectangular throne instead of the round stone. They want to curate his perspective. In a similar way as they do here. The table is here and looks longer on its left and it starts becoming shorter and shorter the more you walk to the right. Optical illusions are really, really popular. And that's why even the ceiling has been painted like that, even though it's flat.
Well, like you can see, like here, it looks beaded, but when you get under it, it looks three-dimensional.
Yes. So you have to be in the right angle.
Right angle,
I can tell you by experience that the next gallery is normally the favorite gallery. Why everybody looks just phenomenal. Yes. But before we get there, I just wanted to tell you what this is. This is the representation of the assassination of the most famous Roman of all. Julius Caesar is being stabbed to death here on the Ides of March, which means the 15th of March of the year 44 before Christ, after a conspiracy of senators in the Senate. They're killing him, and he probably just said the very famous sentence, "Et tu, Brute, fili me, even you, Brutus, my own son, are here to kill me." That's where the word brutal comes from. From Brutus. Son of Julius Caesar. The start is fun. People have fun looking for the places their families are from. Because the maps are incredibly easy. Every little name of the little towns all around the country. This is the heel of Italy. If you know how Italy looks like from the sky, it's a high heel boot. That's the heel of Italy.
Oh, they were smart.
And what's on the ceiling? In this case, the ceiling is actual 3D. Okay, so those are stuck. It comes out. In the center, see the ceiling, you have those frames with images of saints and of their miracles. Those saints are always related to the territory shown below. So there is a connection between the ceiling and if a city here is particularly devoted to a saint, he will be represented over there. So his most famous one. And the artist of the maps is in Amsterdam by the artists of the ceiling by Giorgio Luciano and what I want to tell you, and it's difficult now for a tour guide to try to explain how special these maps are. Because we're coming here in 2024. We don't have Google Maps in our pockets, But maps were commissioned in 1582. In those times, there was no photography, no Google Maps, no satellites.
so how did they
I have no idea how they were going about. So it's a masterpiece of cartographers and mathematicians who were sailing around Italy with very simple tools like that, such as the sextant, taking all the measures, it's insane to represent the maps in such a detailed way, always showing us also the zoo of the main cities of each area. And I would like to show you the most popular areas of Italy, which is near Sorrento. So this place is beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
On the outside, you will see the Vatican gardens. Very beautiful, with the antenna of the Vatican radio. And here on the left, this is Campania, the region of Naples, Amalfi Coast, and the island of Capri, which is on the very top.
Where was Positano?
Positano should be a little bit lower, because that's upside down.
Oh, it is?
It's up there. It's in the...
Positano, I see it.
It's spelled a little bit different.
Yeah.
It's because the S was...
Okay. That's cool.
So you see, that's what people do when they come here. Let me see if I can see my great grandmother. And they spend hours.
Right.
Oh, this is interesting for us. So you're here now. You see the Vatican City on this side, and the Colosseum over there. This is all over the 50s. Everything is upside down on the field. We are walking wrong way. This gallery is being designed for the purpose to walk from this apartment down there, the resistance zone, to the left. Imagine the whole thing is guests. Now, even leaving Rome, he was able to show all Italy. Showing them the wealth and the power. What else might be saying? That's Garda, which is exactly how it looks inside. Lake Garda is the largest.
We're going to be going there.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a Garda. That's Como. Lake Como is also there.
Yep.
I've been there 3 weeks ago for my best friend's wedding.
Oh, yeah?
He lives there.
That's cool.
Cool, but it's a little bit expensive for us, the locals. It became very touristy. This is one of the most famous regions in Italy. This is Tuscany. It just comes with its old name of Etruria, land of the Etruscans. Ancient population living in Rome before the seaport.
Yep.
City near Padua. If you want to stop, you can only do it for a short time on the right hand side. There's the rules for either.
I'm sure.
It was like the introduction. These were the 4 main ports of Italy back then. Rome, Civitavecchia, which still exists, very important for cruise lines. Genova, the city of Columbus. This is Venice, which still looks the same, did not change anything. And these 2 are the main ports of Italy. These are the 2 main ports of Italy. That's how they transported Egyptian obelisks down there.
Oh, wow.
Special vessels. It was a little loud, but not too bad. I can tell you we've been very lucky so far. Normally, like yesterday, now we are overcome. It's typically not very pleasant experience for the guests.
That's it, yeah.
Today is borderline.
Well, like yesterday when we were walking around the streets, there were so many people, and I understand that it's not even the season yet for it, and it was crazy.
Yeah, the season started, but we're not in its peak.
Fun, yeah.
The busiest month is from now to June, July, August, September, and even October, which used to be the most recommended month.
Because it's cooler, yeah.
It became warmer and very busy.
Really?
So November is a little
New members, you know. Turn it down.
Okay, if you can make it a little bit short. And he will open the rope only for us. We're very, very lucky.
Grazie.
Grazie mille.
Oh.
We're going straight to the Sistine shop. Okay, so remember that from now on, it will be forbidden to take pictures.
No pictures.
We'll have to follow all the rules.
We turn this off too?
Yeah, we're not inside yet, but we will get there at the end of the staircase.
So turn off.
You see the rules are summarized on the silver plates in front.
Okay.
So, I'd like to show you something terrible. That is the line to get here. Can you see where it starts?
Oh my gosh.
Somewhere around the large screen down there, you can see people who line up all along the colors. Can you see that? All around the square.
That's just
They're
to get in
standing,
here.
and then it starts zigzagging over there, and they're becoming even longer. And they will all have to walk through the metal detectors in between the columns. This takes 3 hours.
Just to get through the line?
Yes.
Wow.
It's a really long time, and I hope that this will make you appreciate the skip line.
Yeah.
Purchasing a tour is always a smart choice.
What are all the chairs used for?
The chairs are here for Pope's general audience on Wednesdays. So every Wednesday, Pope addresses the crowd from the white canopy on top of the stairs.
Yeah.
There. And it is free of charge, but you need a ticket. Tickets are distributed by Swiss cards typically, or in some specific offices. And the reason why you need a ticket is that your chairs are here.
Right.
Other than that, you can see the Pope on the square, blessing the crowd from the Apostolic Palace, which is not covered by a column, but we come from there. From the window of his office, every Sunday at 12 noon, he blesses the crowd during the Angelus, the Mass of Sunday at 12. Then another moment when you can see the Pope appearing on the square is a balcony. From that balcony, the one, the center of the facade in the middle with the green and the reddish decorations.
Yeah.
That's the balcony of the benedictions, and it's used by the popes twice a year during the masses of Easter and Christmas, the two most important ones. But it's also the balcony where popes are introduced to the crowd after their election in the Sistine shop. So you see them there for the first time. They're elected, they tell their names, in Latin. It's Nuncio Vobis Magnum Gaudium, Habemus Papa. Good job. Let's go there.
Okay.
And explore it from the inside.
On your way out,
on top of the facade. By the way, you cannot see the dome. That's why you wanted to see it
Right,
earlier.
earlier. Yeah, because they completely can't, you can't even see it.
Yep.
On top of the facade, though, there are Jesus with some of the apostles. Not all of them. The two apostles, Peter and Paul, are right here among us. Peter is holding the key from Jesus down there on the left, and Paul is holding the sword, symbol of his martyrdom. Now, he's been beheaded in Rome, same year as Peter. He's using the sword. So he's represented with the sword, the symbol of his martyrdom, but also of the word of God, of which he was a tireless preacher. So they welcome us to the big St. Peter's Basilica, which is the center of Christendom. And the importance of St. Peter's Basilica lies in the fact that it's been built over the tomb of Peter. That's where Emperor Constantine found the bones of Peter. They're kept in a room underground, where there used to be a necropolis here, a real town for dead when Peter died. And his body was buried there in secret, but Christianity was not permitted. That's why he was executed. And for about 250 years, it was a place of pilgrimage for all the secret Christian communities. He painted one of the walls of his grave red, putting 2 Greek words on it, carved in the stone, saying Petros Eni, which means Peter is here, as a message for all the Christians who were looking for his tomb. But Emperor Constantine found that reddish stone in the year 323, and he decided to build the first St. Peter's Basilica, a large church dedicated to the cult of St. Peter, who, as we know, was the first pope chosen directly by Jesus. Very, very important. So everything here developed around the tomb of Peter, which is currently the holiest spot of the whole Vatican City. Now taking it.
You need to go on the show with this, please. Gentleman is chanting the
Dress code. He's preparing some of those paper. So probably this time of the day you can still find some. It's always very, very rare. Now we can start entering the church. We have to take these stairs. Be careful, because they're steep and they might be slippery. Because they're very, very old, so they're also very tough. And you will see very soon the view that the Pope gets on Wednesday. He's talking to the crowd from the white canopy, right here on the left. We're very lucky because St. Peter's Basilica has been restored in recent times, no longer than 5 years ago. They polished all the white trellis, so it's amazing. The gentleman with the blue hat is a Vatican policeman. It's the Gendarmeria Vaticana. They have their own police.
Avec les 19, je peux faire 7. Avec les lequel c'est pas ici.
Il n'y a pas de cas ici.
Oublie le poulet d'avant.
In the respective martyrdom, you can see Paul on his knees by the bottom right corner of that square. He's praying with a Roman soldier standing behind him, ready to swing his sword. While here, below Peter, you can see the martyrdom of Peter being crucified upside down in the surface of Nero, an ancient Roman hippodrome which used to be in the area now occupied by St. Peter's. So this area is incredibly important for all the Catholics for this reason. It's the place of the martyrdom and the burial place called St. Peter. As I said in the very beginning of our talk, holy people at the end of a longer pilgrimage always want to walk through the holy court of St. Peter's Basilica, which is right there. So I'm going the holy door feels like a gilded bronze decorated door, and it's locked. It will be only open in 2025. And on its top, you can read the names of the last two popes who opened it recently. John Paul II opened it in the year M, which means 2000, in the year 2001. It was an official opening. And then Francis, as you can see, Franciscus, he opened it in 2015. He did not wait 25 years. He wanted to open it earlier, and he did that during an extraordinary holy year, which he created, called the Year of Hope. The idea behind it was, you don't have enough money to travel to Rome during the official Holy Year, I will now declare that all the doors of all the churches around the world will work exactly like this one, forgiving your sins for 1 year in 2015. So you didn't have to come here, you could go to your local church, walk through the door and have your sins.
That's cool.
I will leave you here in a very short time. I need to go there to pay for our tour.
Okay.
So I don't know if you want to pause. It might take me 2 or 3 days.
Go, Shane, go walk and do your.
Stay here. I'll meet you right back.